Well, hi YouTubers. Hi, I'm coming back from Norfolk and okay, so went to a charity shop today. There's not much really to do here apart from doing lots of reading, and I read this in one singular bus ride as I was waiting to get the bus home. And hey, I haven't read this book in a really long time. It's Are You There, God? It's Me, Margaret by Judy Blume. I've actually met Judy Blume. She's a signing. It was so Piccadilly a short while ago. She was awesome. She signed my copy of this and her latest book as well. So it's nice to meet her. She's lovely. Okay, I actually thanked her because growing up I really needed someone like Judy Blume, but just to kind of point out that, hey, you're not a freak and it's going to be okay. So, and read the blurb. Here we go. Are you there, God? It's me, Margaret, again. Have you thought about it? My growing. I mean, I've got a bra now. It would be nice if I had something to put in it. Oh, Margaret, you sweet summer child. Okay. There's lots of things about growing up that are hard to be honest about, even with your best friends. So Margaret talks to God about her feelings. One of Judy Blume's funniest and best known novels. Okay. So interesting as well, because one thing I do know is that Judy Blume is okay with this, is that um, language has been updated for modern generations. Now, when I first read this book, I had to discuss this with my mum because this discusses menstruation and sanitary protection. Is back then, this book really came out in 1979. Okay, so correction, 1978 was published in 1978 in the UK. Um, Women wore belts around their waist, and they kind of hooked them on. Yes, I know. And now, mercifully, we have always. Okay, so yes, so this has been updated to reflect sanitary protection now. Okay, and however, weird things don't. However, it's interesting because Margaret's starting school and her teacher's a man, which is very surprising. It's even like a little questionnaire. How do you feel about a teacher being a man? Okay, back then it's probably more rarer than what it is now. So many teachers are whatever now. So, but and also the fashion as well. Margaret lays out, her blouse and her skirt, and her mum rolls her hair. And well, hey, yeah, and she holds up her hair with bobby pins. It's the fashion hasn't changed. However, the other things are modernized. So it's a weird kind of dichotomy, really. So, but anyway, Margaret started this new school, okay, and she's met some friends. And here we go, okay, right. Janie, Gretchen, and and Nancy, okay, moved in, new school, new neighbours, and they decide to create this little secret club, okay. And this bit has always made me laugh, okay, right. All right, they called them the preteen sensations, the PTS, okay. Then we had a secret vote to pass the club name, and passed it, naturally it passed. And Nancy decided we should all have secret sensational names such as Alexandra, Veronica, Kimberly, and Mavis. Nancy got to be Alexandra. I was Mavis. Yes, that is your secret sensational name, is Mavis. No, okay. Ooh, Mavis. I don't know. Okay. So a lot of things about this book is Margaret is in this new town in New Jersey. She's moved away from her support group. She's an only child, but interesting as well is that her friends, because she went to this private school, her friends, at the moment she leaves, have never ever mentioned or seen again, which I thought was quite interesting. It's kind of like, well, out of sight, out of mind. Clearly, for a book set in the 1970s, people still write letters to each other, okay, but she never calls any old friends, never says to meet up. Margaret struck me as a character who actually was quite lonely growing up, not just being only child, okay, but also she is a child of two worlds. What it is that her father is Jewish, her mother is Christian. They eloped because family didn't understand, though her father's mother, okay, grandmother, came around eventually. Her mother's family totally disowned her, okay, for now 14 years. And so little things like, people go to church, people go to Sunday school, synagogue. There's no like a network of people there. But you never got that with Margaret. So even though she's been raised without her religion, she's been raised without a support network, if you will. That's just an idea kind of like coming through. So this secret sensational club of theirs, okay, right, there you go. is when they're talking about religion. Okay, right. Here you go. If you aren't in a religion, how are you going to know if you should join the Y or the Jewish Community Centre? Janie asked. I don't know, I said. I never thought about it. Maybe we won't join either one. But everybody belongs to one or the other, Nancy said. Well, I guess that'd be up to my parents, I said, ready to change the subject. I mean, I never meant to tell my story in the first place about her parents. So, they should we meet. See? No social club. No social network, if you will. Okay? And Margaret is given this task assignment by her new head teacher, not head teacher, a new teacher, is a class project about anything. Okay, it's a year. Okay, they go about anything: space, the clouds, the moon, books, rockets. Your favorite author. Okay, growing up it was Judy Blume, so one of them. She decides religion because she never really explores that at all in any depth. Now, interesting as well is that her parents are, I think, they're good people, doing the best what they can under the circumstances. However, they do come across as very, very hypocritical. They keep saying to Margaret, when you're older, you can choose religion. But how old is too old? Okay? You know, if, yeah, they're saying when you're older, you can choose a religion. But they've never ever exposed Margaret to any religion whatsoever. So, how do you choose one if you want to? Never in a way, okay, of even though you're not practicing, we're going to take you to a Diwali festival, okay, or you know Eid or Ramadan or anything. They've literally kept her ignorant of all religions. The fact is she's confused, okay. What is why she talks to this imaginary god, okay? Well, imaginary because clearly she says, "Are you there, God? It's me, Margaret." Okay, she doesn't pray. She says, "Are you there, God? It's me, Margaret." That's a communication to the Almighty. Right, this bit here about her parents. That's ridiculous, my mother said when I told her. You know how Daddy and I feel about religion. You said I could choose when I grow up. You're not ready to choose yet, Margaret. I want to try it out, I argued. I'm going to try church too, so don't get hysterical. I'm not hysterical. I just think it's foolish for a girl of your age to bother herself with religion. Can I go? I asked. I'm not going to stop you, my mother said. Fine, then I'll go. I'll wash Shazana in the morning while I was still in bed, I said. Oh, dear God, it's me, Margaret. I'm going to temple today with Grandma. It's a holiday, I guess. Well, you know that. And my father thinks it's a mistake, and my mother thinks the whole idea is crazy. I'm going anyway. I'm sure this will help me to decide what to be. I've never been inside a temple or a church. I'll look for you, God. Never been inside a temple or a church whatsoever. Okay, not even for a wedding. Okay, christening. It's like the parents have decided that part of our life is over. So no cousins mitzvahs, nothing like that. No weddings. They just kept their child ignorant of everything to do with religion. Yeah. Okay. Right. And also is parents are like, well, we don't practice any religion, but they keep kind of slipping into it. Okay. Always. Now her father still sees his mother. Okay, and they've got a very, very good relationship, even though they think that one of the reasons that they moved is to get away from Grandma because she's a bit overbearing, but she actually has Margaret's back in a lot of ways. And even though she gets very emotional when Margaret says, I want to go to synagogue, I want to go to temple, she's like, oh, Margaret, I knew you were Jewish. She's like, Margaret's like, no, I'm not. I just want to see. I just want to explore. Okay? Right. This bit here, okay, this is chapter 12. The next week, my father started to address her Christmas cards, and for days at a time, she was frantically busy with them. She doesn't call them Christmas cards, holiday greetings, she says. We don't celebrate Christmas either. We give presents, but my parents say it's a traditional American custom. Right. Really? So, you have a Christian, raised Christian, sending out Christmas cards, call them holiday cards. You have a Jewish man celebrating Christmas because it's an American custom. It's not, by the way. A really good book called A Battle for Christmas. It's actually not, okay? It kind of was introduced and kind of evolved from there, but it's not an American tradition, okay? Right. But still, I mean, the hypocrisy going in again is they say, okay, you need, when you're older, you can pick and what religion you want to be. But in the meantime, we are not going to practice any religion, raise you no religion, but still pick and choose the bits that we like. Okay, right. And religion really comes into it in the society that they now live in. People are clearly Christian or Jewish. Okay, and even kind of impacts trickles down to the school pageants. Okay. Right. Right before the pageant, Adam Gordon told Mr. Benedict he wasn't going to sing the Christmas songs because it was against his religion. Okay. So basically, Alan Gordon is Jewish, but Margaret is never ever speaks to Alan whatsoever. Okay, about his faith. Right. Then Lisa Murphy raised her hand and said she wasn't going to sing the Hanukkah songs, so because it was against her religion. Miss Bennet explained that songs were for everyone, have to do at all with religion. But the next day, Alan brought a note from home, and from then on, marched, but he didn't sing. Right. He just sang when we marched, but she didn't even move her lips during the um, Hanukkah songs. There you go. Right. Okay. And the thing is, Margaret celebrates Christmas in her own way, but she doesn't celebrate Hanukkah. She doesn't like the candles, okay, or say the blessings. So, hey. Right. And in this also, now this book, one thing I do know is this book, when it came out, was very, very taboo, because in a book it discussed things that were never ever normally discussed in a children's book. Okay, it discusses growing up. It talks about Margaret getting a bra. It talks about things that at the time were very, very taboo. It talks about menstruation. Okay, periods, menstruation. Okay, the monthly visitor, it talks about that. Now, this brought back some memories too, because I actually remember watching a very similar video, okay, when I was at school. I went to an all-girls school, okay, and the film told us about the ovaries and explained why girls menstruated, but didn't tell us how it feels, except to say that it's not painful, which we knew anyway. Oh, how cute. Right. Also didn't really show a girl getting it. It just said how wonderful nature was and how we'll soon become women and all of that. Right. Yes. hmm Right. So, yeah. Now I went to an all-girls school. There was a similar video, and about the thing is, okay, my mum is a nurse, and I got older sisters, so you know that doesn't mean you're ready for it though. When it does, oh, anyway. So in this, as Margaret and her friends, okay, they're developing, wearing bras, is periods. They think that if you get a period, your period arrives, you will become a woman. Okay, suddenly you are a woman. And there's a moment where Nancy sends out a postcard saying that I've got it started. Okay, she's then I like this moment. Then Nancy, Margaret, and her mother are out, her family, and no, Nancy didn't get it, but now she has, and she freaks. And I will give this. This is so the reaction. Okay, it's so well. Nancy's fear, you totally understand. Okay, your first time is a very, very scary time. I actually do remember it. So, but Margaret's attitude, Margaret at times is actually not a nice person. That's one thing I like about her being realistic. Okay, is Nancy thought she started, she hadn't, which is common. Of course, Margaret doesn't know that. Okay, and it's been here. This is when, okay, after Nancy's freaked out and her mother's sorted her out and been absolutely wonderful. Okay, are you there, God? It's me, Margaret. Nancy Wheeler is a big fake. She makes up stories. I'll never be able to trust her again. I'll wait to find out from you if I am normal or not. If you'd like to give me a sign, fine. If not, I'll try to be patient. What I ask is that I don't get it in school, because if I had to tell Mr. Benedict, I know I would die. Thank you, God. Right. Of course, she doesn't know any of this, okay? Right. And also with the developing as well is a body shaming coming in too, with a character called Laura. Okay. Now Laura is a little bit taller than the other girl. She developed early. Okay. And because of that, everyone thinks that she's easy. She puts out. She goes. People are just staring at her all the time. okay? Because in comparison to them, okay, as she developed a little bit earlier, she's a target, she's shamed, okay? And it's interesting as well when Laura turns on Margaret, okay, and calls Margaret out on her bullying. It's from Margaret's point of view, what is doing is sitting there gossiping, okay, about Laura. But Laura, who's Catholic by the way, actually goes to confession at one point, she's had enough of it. She's absolutely had enough of it, and she stands up for herself. And I'm proud of Laura. I'm very, very proud of Laura. Right, here you go. Don't you think, I know all about you and your friends, don't you think it's any fun to be the biggest kid in class? I don't know. I said, I never thought about it. Well, try thinking about it. Try thinking about how you feel. You had to wear a bra in fourth grade. Everyone laughed, and how you always had to cross your arms in front of you. And about how the boys called you dirty names just because of how you looked. I thought about it. I'm sorry, Laura, I said. I bet. Right. I really am. If you want to know the truth, well, I wish I looked more like you than like me. I gladly trade places with you. Now I'm going to confession. Right, then she goes to confession, and Margaret follows in and freaks out because she doesn't actually understand the rules. Okay, give me a chance for I have sinned. Right, that. So in all this, everything kind of comes to a head when Margaret's grandparents, her mother's family, show up, and they are, I guess, very kind of stereotypical. They're overbearing. Um, they call her Margaret Ann, which is her full name, and they one of the first things, okay, we're finding out that Margaret doesn't go to religion is just try to take over. They pretty much cause a very, very civil scene, if you will, okay? In the end, maybe because after a year of this bombardment of what religion is, what Margaret is, because her parents are raised in ignorance and she doesn't know anymore. And she doesn't know who to talk to whatsoever. I mean, she talks to God, clearly, okay, but hey. Right, this bit here. Right. So Margaret is Christian, she announced, so we all should have known. Please, my mother said, Margaret, just be easy, be Jewish. Don't you see, if you keep this up, you're going to spoil everything. I don't mean to upset you, dear, grandmother told my mother, but a child is always the religion of the mother, and you, Barbara, were born Christian. You were baptized, it's that simple. Margaret is nothing, my father stormed, and I thank you for ending that discussion right now. Right, here you go. Because it's the whole, we're letting Margaret choose her own religion when she's grown, if she wants to. Right. Interesting as well, because that's very, very common in Jewish society. It's from the mother's side. So if the mother's Jewish, then the child is Jewish. And yeah, I guess Christians too. Actually, my family was originally Catholic. We became Protestant because my great grandmother was Protestant. Oh, okay, yeah. Right. But she has it out with her family and says, I don't need God. I don't want to, basically, I don't need God. I don't want God. And she stops talking to God for a while. Okay? Right. So she stops talking to God for a little bit because just to kind of clear her head. And she's also really upset because her other grandmother, her father's mother, was going to take her to Florida and that had to be cancelled because her family were coming over. Margaret's, this quite difficult year for her overall. And there's little bits which you will now take for granted. However, at the time they were so taboo. Okay? And very, very refreshing. And there's a bit further towards the end where um, Janie, who has yet to receive the monthly blessings, okay, and Margaret, they go to a drugstore in the corner, okay, and after looking at the sanitary napkin displays, after a few minutes I whispered to Janie, let's buy a box. It wasn't something I thought about for a while, but wasn't even brave enough to do it. Today I was feeling brave, I thought, so what if God's mad at me, who cares? I even tested him by crossing the street in the middle of the road and against the light. Nothing happened. Oh, jaywalking, remember them, American. Buy for what? Janie asked. Just in case, I told her. You mean to keep at home? Sure, why not? I don't know. My mother might not like it, Janie says, so don't tell her. What she sees, it'll be in a bag. You can say school supplies. There you go. Then they buy the sanitary towels, okay? Which at the time of this book coming out in the 1970s, that would have been a very, very embarrassing thing. Now, I truly hope you don't have ever been embarrassed, okay, about buying that. Right, and it ends, however, with obviously Margaret. She gets a period, okay? Thanks God for it. Now she's becoming a woman. Feels a bit bad for Janie because Janie, out of the four friends, Janie is the last, and I felt lucky. I felt jealous of Janie actually. So, Are You There, God? It's Me, Margaret. It's an interesting exploration. Okay, you got to remember how things were when this book came out, and at the time, this book was banned. Judy Blume has been banned for her content because she talks about things that were so taboo back then, which mercifully the dialogue is changing. However, the interesting as well, okay, of how fashion in this book has not been updated, okay. However, various other bits of dialogue have. So, however, I generally enjoyed this book. I remember how it was reading it, and hey, it made when I read this when I was a teenager, it made me feel like I wasn't alone. That's what her books are. So Judy Blume, Are You There, God? It's Me, Margaret. Okay, Margaret doesn't really come to a conclusion, okay, about her religion. Okay, her project is just a letter to her teacher, but she kind of understands herself a little bit better, and that's the thing. So, right, sign off.